I'm trying to work on not chasing the next thing.
What's up, everyone? Shaq here for EDM.com, and you know who this is. You probably have already, or will soon catch his ongoing North American tour. Check out the deluxe issue of his latest album out right now. Elderbrook, how are you doing, sir?
I am super duper. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for doing this. There's so much to talk about, particularly as I was sort of reflecting back. This is the 10th year of Elderbrook, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
it is,
isn't
which
that
makes me
crazy?
feel really old. But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's
Since
no
I
fighting
released
that.
since I released my first, I guess, thing online as Elderbrook. Yeah, 10 years.
But before we get there, I don't know if your tour manager is within earshot, but I hope he is. How do they feel about your parents keeping a close eye on the Master Tour app and making sure that they're doing their job well?
Where did you read that? No, basically, so my my parents were both like in the travel industry, so they are absolutely obsessed with my schedule and like what hotels I'm staying at, how much the hotel costs, how far away, like all the logistics of my touring. My family are like they're not involved, but they're just like keeping a watchful eye. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's funny.
Well, I'm glad the parents care. That's a nice sign. You'll always be their baby boy, right? There's no getting around
Of
that.
course, yeah, and they're just
Of
seeing,
course.
yeah, they're always seeing what kind of hotel I'm staying in.
I love parrots. They're so quirky. Um,
Mhm.
Now, I remember seeing Elderbrook for the first time live a couple of years ago in Vancouver. And as someone with textbook ADHD, my mind is just trying to make sense of how it's possible that you're doing so much on stage at once. You're DJing, you're playing instruments, you're singing, you're dancing. What does rehearsal look like for you? And what's going, like, how quickly is your mind functioning from, like, gotta get from point A to point B?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of questions there. So let me just
Sorry,
start
I
with,
know. Again,
no,
ADHD
it's
can't
right.
wheel
It's so
it
like
in.
on stage, yeah. I mean, I'm looping things, I'm bringing things in and out. I've just a lot of the songs I've done like 100 times, so it's just muscle memory at this point. So, I'm focusing on like doing a good vocal delivery more than anything. And then, depending on how I'm feeling, I'll dance around a little bit. But rehearsing, I'm really bad at rehearsing. Like it's just like it sounds like the most boring thing to do in the world. So I have historically avoided rehearsing. However, for this tour, I smashed it out a little bit more. So I kind of figured out what I'm doing a bit more. And I think it shows, I hope. And I'm two shows into this long 2 month long North American tour, and yeah, 2 shows in, it's gonna get better. But it's still really good, but it's gonna get better.
Are you? You say that there's, I know, enough muscle memory at this point. Are you able to be very present when you're doing so much on stage? Like, are you able to soak it in?
Yeah, absolutely. I think
That's
because
nice.
so much of it I've done so many times, sometimes halfway through a song I'll kind of be my mind will wander because I know it so well, and I'll kind of like start looking at people in the crowd like, oh, who are these guys? What are they up to? And yeah, no, I can still feel very connected with everyone.
There's so much, thought that goes into your songwriting, trying to present your message, but in an abstract enough way that the listener can kind of interpret it for themselves. When you look back at the last 10 years, what would you say is the biggest lesson that you've learned as an artist or as a person since 2015?
Sure. I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is not to overthink things when it comes to creativity. And I now, when I'm writing new music, my style of writing new music is always run with the first idea. That's what helps me. So I won't think about it. I'll just do it, like put it down, write it down. Even if it's not real words or anything, I'll do the words later. It's fine. But yeah, first instinct is always the best, and I think that's what's helped me a lot recently.
That reminds me of an interview you did with Billboard where you told them about some wisdom that Rudimental imparted on you about the importance of saying no.
Sure.
What do you think it is that people fear or misunderstand about the consequences of saying no?
Well, I think that a lot of people, especially scrolling through social media and watching other people's lives the whole time, they think, you know, you've got to take advantage of every opportunity. And I guess you do whatever, but it's not realistic when you see all these people online, like whatever headlining festivals, and like you kind of compare yourself to them, and you feel like you need to say yes to everything, otherwise you're never going to make it. You got to got to do this every single day. You got to do whatever. But really, a lot of it is you just got to look after yourself, and if you can look after yourself, then the next song you make is going to be 10 times better than if you're stressed out trying to write an amazing song, number one smash hit single. If you just take some time, just say no, because it's easy to say yes to everything. It can be very overwhelming, and it creeps up on you, and then it can end badly. But yeah,
I'm gonna just take a shot in the dark and say Elderbrook, now here, father, is probably a bit better with his finances. But what was a college age Elderbrook spending the 250 a pop that he was making off those hip hop beats?
so when I was at college, I remember I don't know if I can go into exactly what I spent all my money on.
I'll
However,
trust your judgment.
something more PC is yeah, I suddenly had like I was selling hip hop beats to random local rappers for like $200 per beat, whatever. Um, and I suddenly had like, $1,000 in my account for the first time in my life. I was like, yeah, Mr. Big whatever, like walking down the street, walked past like a thrift store. I saw a trombone in the mirror. No, in the mirror. I'm not a trombone. Saw it in the window. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy that trumpet. No, it's a trumpet. I'm gonna buy that trumpet. I bet I'm really good at it. So I was like, yeah, go on, like $500 for like a trumpet. And then when my money ran out next week, I kind of just had this trumpet and I was just looking at it and it was forever. I've got it still now and it serves as a reminder not to waste your money on stupid shit. So yeah, I was spending money on trumpets and other things,
Well, I
things that you
guess
blow. That joke. Sorry.
I'm gonna have a hard time getting over the idea of Elderbrook, quote, "I am not a trombone" as the headline of this article, but I promise I'll do my
Yeah, that
best to
works.
yeah, move on from that
That
one.
works.
Were
But
you,
no, yeah, I still got that trumpet.
did you stick with the trumpet longer than you stuck with the saxophone in your youth?
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've still got the trumpet. I still can't play it. But one night I picked up this trumpet and I could play it immaculately at like 5 in the morning. But every other time I've tried, it just hasn't worked. But it just clicked with me once with the trumpet. But like that was one time, and I don't think I'm ever going to be able to recreate it. But the people that were there can vouch. Like I nailed it at 5 a.m. this one time.
Who was in the room at 5 a.m. while you're playing a trumpet?
Listen, man, I've lived a life, okay?
Yeah, well, you've said that you party even hardier than John Summit, so that speaks volumes on its own. I
Did I
don't
say
think
that?
anymore. I read a lot of your interviews before this, so if I'm Nardwar, if this feels like a Nardwar interview, I promise it's
I've
all
got
things
I've
you've
got to,
said.
I've got to worry about. I've got to pay attention to what I say a bit more.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Stand
Okay,
back, though.
let's get a little bit back on track here. Sorry for all the detours I take you on. If your children were a key inspiration for Little Love, or who were some of the real life experiences that sparked the more fictional themes of overindulgence and self-reflection in Another Touch?
I guess I've drawn a lot on places that I've been in my life
Mm.
before, but I guess yeah, it's not about me. It's a fictional thing, a fictional story that I've concocted to tell this story again, like you said, of overindulgence, of reliance, dependence, and getting out of that and finding a way back to who you want to be through, getting going back home, basically.
If well, where am I? There we go. I lost track of myself there, Elderbrook. I know how I can't imagine how unique of a circumstance it was to raise a newborn through the pandemic. What would you say was the weirdest part of that experience relative to, I guess, your expectations had you welcomed your child
Like
earlier or later?
not not that it's weird, but it meant that because I'm a touring artist, that's the only time that was able to just be there for 6 months straight at the
Mm.
beginning of a child's life. So that was a perfect time for me being there and not jetting off every weekend to somewhere else. So that was pretty weird, I guess.
Good weird, though.
Yeah, good
Great
weird.
weird. The best weird you could
But yeah,
possibly have under those
yeah.
circumstances.
So yeah, bring on another. No, no, that'd be a bad headline. Yeah.
Now I got you paying attention. I like that. I appreciate
I
that.
didn't say it. I didn't say it. I didn't
You
say
did
it.
not say anything. I'm listen. We're
No, it was good, honestly. And I know it's kind of horrible and like it's not great when people say that they had a good time during the pandemic, but it did mean that I was at home a lot more, which I did enjoy.
Do you have any particular memory that sticks out most of that time you got to spend those first 6 months very close to your newborn?
Uh,
Aside from the lack of
yeah,
sleep, I
it was
guess.
a weird transitional point for me in my life because I like, we got pregnant with my first kid halfway through the pandemic. So the first half of the pandemic was, I was inviting like loads of people around to my place just outside of London, and we were trying to like get all locked down together and have like a little party time. And then halfway through, it's like, oh right, got a baby on the way. Everyone has to go home now. Everyone has to go home. We have to like stop partying now, and we got to focus down. And actually, that's when I wrote a lot of the EP in between, the EP that had Inner Light on it,
Mm-hmm.
for example. So I buckled down, and I started waking up, and I had this little cabin at the bottom of my garden that I would write in, and yeah, I would go there every day, try and write a song, and I did write songs, and they were really good. So yeah.
When it clicked that this is the sort of 10-year anniversary of Elderbrook, I'm like, great, past, present, future. You mentioned the overthinking. When you look back at yourself 10 years ago,
Hmm.
unless it's the same answer, in what way is that Elderbrook most unrecognizable to this Elderbrook?
Just the BPM of the music. So when I first started, like I started from like I was trying to make money just by selling like really bad hip hop beats to local rappers.
To buy
Uh,
trumpets with.
yeah, and so I just like the only difference between that and Elderbrook was instead of like I would just make the kick beat, the kick drum go forward to the floor. So yeah, it was really slow. It was like 90 BPM, 100 BPM. And yeah, that's where I was for a while, and slowly it's just crept up. I guess it has across. I guess most people would say that though, eh? I think music is just getting faster and faster. But yeah, mine has definitely. That's the biggest change, I guess.
How would you say your goals, your priorities as a musician have changed the most?
That's a really good question. I should have some goals, right?
I mean,
I
sometimes
guess
it's nice not to. I mean,
I,
it seems like
I,
you're doing
I mean,
well enough.
I don't really. I don't know if I've thought in depth about exactly what it is I want to achieve through music. I think it's cathartic and it's therapeutic for me to make music. I like making music. And I think one thing that is important that I have thought about is that I shouldn't chase a sound that I've heard elsewhere. I should just make stuff for me that sounds cool because that is what ends up being the best music anyway. So, yeah, that.
I like that answer. In fact, it's a very refreshing answer. I
Hmm.
think goals are great. I think sometimes people put too much emphasis on the end product and put too
Yeah.
much weight on
But
them. Don't
also,
enjoy the
you're never
process.
going to get to the end product.
Yeah.
Like you can say like, oh yeah, what my goal is I want to sell out this venue. But then once you've sold out that venue, like you better believe that you got another venue in mind that you want. Like you're never going to reach it. So, you know, just being um making stuff that is, true to what you want to do.
Has that presentness always come kind of naturally for you, or is it something you've had to work on?
What do you mean? Sorry.
I don't know. Well, it just seems like if you're not constantly chasing the next thing, it seems like you're living a bit more in the moment.
I'm trying to work on not chasing the next thing because that's something that because the reason why I spoke so passionately about it just then is because I guess that's something I've struggled with wanting to, like it's like, oh, I'll be so happy if once I get like 100 million views, and then you get 100 million views. It's like billion would be nice though. And it's just stuff like that. And I even like obviously I haven't had anything with a billion views, but once I do, it'd be nice to have two songs with a billion views. Like you're just never going to reach it. So setting more, and it's not about not setting goals, but setting goals that like make a song that you love. Nothing quantifiable by other people because that shouldn't matter.
Is there one song that holds a special place in your heart the most among the Elderbrook content? It's Numb for me. That came at a very weird time in my life, but that song struck perfectly, so I still enjoy listening to
I
it.
mean, for me, I've always loved my song called Talking, which I believe I
Hmm.
released in about 2000, maybe 2016. Um, just for the lyrics, I really like it. It's a very honest song about me, and that's my most honest song about me.
As we begin to wrap up here, is there anything on the horizon in terms of music in 2025 that we can share? I understand if we can't.
Yes, there is.
What?
I'm working on a little EP right now, songs with Ahmed Spins and him and one other. I don't know what song it is yet, but they're really good songs, and everyone's going to really like them. And but most importantly, I like them.
I like
But
it.
yeah,
Yes.
there you go. See. But
Nothing if
no,
not consistent.
everyone will love them, and it's gonna be great. So yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. And then yeah, a load of festivals, I guess. My head is so in this North American tour that I've just
I
started.
understand.
I cannot even think about anything in the future. So
Even the fest, you're
yeah,
on the Shambhala lineup, correct?
I believe so. Have I
I will.
announced that yet?
Shambhala announced the lineup, so
Well, there
I
you
don't think
go.
it's up to
Then
you anymore.
no, my mind is completely on this 2 month long North American tour that everyone should buy tickets to.
Yes, please. Buy two tickets on my behalf since I can't make it, but I will make it a point to see
Buy
you at
five,
Shambhala.
buy
There,
10,
buy 10, buy 15. Why we don't need this?
just buy them all, and
There's
then
even
some
a pre-party in
other
Vancouver at this point, so you can watch them twice in 2 days. There we go.
exactly.
I'm up to date with stuff. As we wrap up here, Elderbrook, one question on my mind more than any. What is going through your mind when you're being tattooed live on stage in New York mid-performance?
Honestly, what was going through my mind was, is this lame? Does it look like I'm trying too hard? That is what was going through my mind when I was like, I'll DJ. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get a tattoo while I DJ. Like, that's gonna be cool as hell. And then halfway through, I'm like, just like I'm that guy that like wants to get a tattoo in front of everyone. Like, this is so lame. But I'm glad I did it. I don't know. I mean, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, is this lame? Maybe it's not lame. Maybe it's kind of cool. I don't know.
Well, if each tattoo has a story, I'd argue that that one has a very memorable story.
Yeah. It's a bit cringy though.
He said
Like,
something.
whatever.
All right, your words,
Yeah.
not mine. Man, this has been great. I'll be forthcoming. It's my day off today. I try to avoid doing
Nice.
interviews on my day off, but this was certainly
Hey,
a
same
highlight
here.
of my days. Yeah, sorry, my bad. I hope it was semi-entertaining for you because it was for me.
No,
I'd
it's all
love to
good.
let you.
Hopefully next time you interview me, it will be as a UFC champion.
Hey, don't set any goals. Just let it come to you, and it might, right?
Dude, I'll just start fighting people and see how it goes.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna say don't buy tickets to Elderbrook's shows, but be on your best behavior when you do, because Elderbrook is coming for you.
Do it.
Sir, if there's anything you want to let the people know, I'd love to give you the last word here.
Yeah, just buy tickets to my tour. But it's really good. It's a good time. You'll have a good time. So yeah.